Welcome to Corrective Consciousness, episode 279, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And we have another wonderful show here. We have 5 more Joel Schumacher Batmans.
Oh, what?
Each worse than the last.
Every character in the movie is pretending to be Frank Gorshin's the Riddler.
They just add Robin one more time. Batman and Robin and Robin.
And Robin. Nice.
It's just like and Knuckles.
Yes.
It just stacks from there. Lots of Chris O'Donnells.
All of them doing their laundry.
I just don't understand how they justified him, adopting him. He's, straight up in his 20s. I don't know what the fuck is going on there. But anyway, Val Kilmer has weird choices. But Dick Grayson was a fucking child, when he adopted him, so it made sense. But anyway, moving on from that, I thought it was time that we had never really talked about this franchise, but it's kind of funny to call it a franchise at this point because for a long time there was just kind of only a couple things having to do with it. But I wanted to talk about Ghostbusters because the new Afterlife came out. And I just wanted to get an opportunity to talk about the series in general and how you encountered it, that kind of thing. But I don't think I need to do much introduction, and explain what Ghostbusters is. I guess I can for some of the younger audiences, but essentially you had Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray, who were very early SNL stars. They were on season 2, I think. Bill Murray was Chevy Chase's replacement. So that's what he was famous for. And Dan Aykroyd took over the newsman segment there in season 2 from Chevy Chase. So they had met there, or from that circle of people, and they went on to do a whole bunch of movies together and have been lifelong friends. And they went along with Harold Ramis to make this. I think he was it Justin Reitman is his son.
Jason, I believe.
Jason Reitman. Okay, Jason Reitman was the director, and this has been something that Dan Aykroyd really wanted to do. Dan Aykroyd has always been into supernatural, paranormal
ghosts,
stuff,
aliens,
and he's always been into writing. He's done a lot of different things that he's written himself.
Well, apparently he had some gigantic potential script. I forgot if it was auditions for Ghostbusters 2 or something like that, but there's all sorts of stuff, directions it could have gone in that they were it's too crazy.
Yeah, he's always kind of, it was co-written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, there we go. And directed by Ivan Reitman. His son was the one who directed the newest one. Okay. But yeah, Bill Murray ends up kind of being the star of the show, oddly enough. He did a lot of improv on the set, and also, it was kind of, even back then, very apparent that he was kind of lackadaisical while he was filming.
Although, at the same time, though...
His character's like that.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a natural extension of his character, who, if he doesn't outright call bullshit, he's at least, I guess I'll do it if it pays, whatever. I don't think that Venkman expected to be actually fighting ghosts.
Yeah, they're the kind of characters that are supposed to be blue collar, non-achiever kind of characters.
But at the same time, though, and this is one of my favorite lines in the entire movie. It doesn't work out of context, but like, when you go into a haunted house and like the furniture's all upside down, what? But like they see like a stack of books in the library, like that's stacked up really high, and Bill Murray's like, oh yeah, no human being could have possibly stacked books in such a manner. Like, it's just so sarcastic. It's amazing.
Yeah,
there's no possible way that some guy turned this furniture upside down. It must have been a dead spirit.
It's not. It was pretty rare for a movie back then to be making fun of the conceit as it's happening.
Yeah, like it's a very Deadpool today thing to do. Like in the 80s, it was just like, huh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, here's the thing: they weren't supposed to be like military or anything like that. They were more supposed to be kind of like janitors or blue collar, like people getting rid of these pests. They're almost like exterminators. Yeah, exactly.
And they're even wearing exterminator outfits, kind of. It just has Ghostbusters branding.
But there was just so much cool surrounding the whole thing. I mean, they had a vehicle called the Ecto-1 that was an old ambulance, and an old school style ambulance, but it had it's all kinds of gadgets hooked up to it, as well as a very iconic like siren, and the movie also had all kinds of technology in it that was also neat that the characters used. They straight up used like a nuclear power pack on their backs,
which they're repeatedly called on in the movie. Like Walter Peck is like the bad guy of the movie because he's Mr. No Fun, but he's also like
right
absolutely
about certain
right.
Things. That's the thing about like a lot of like bully villains almost like from this era is just like, actually no, you're probably right. These should be regulated, and you should probably need a permit to run all
Ferris
this crap.
Well, it makes me think of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah,
like, I mean, until the principal starts stalking him at his fucking house, but like everything before that movie, like no, the principal's just straight up right. Like, and Ferris Bueller's a prick.
So, other characters in this, the fourth Ghostbuster who's frequently left out of a lot of things is Ernie Hudson, who plays Winston Zedmore. Now, he was
also a skeptic. He also has one of the best lines in the movie. Like,
anything that comes with a paycheck, right?
Yeah. Do you believe in ghosts? Like, if you keep signing the paychecks or something like that, I'll believe anything you say.
Yeah, he's often the one who gets shortchanged. In a lot of like video games, he's not included as a playable character.
Even in the cartoon, like when the real Ghostbusters was taken over by a different company, they did their best to sideline him, much to the chagrin, much to the frustration of the original creators.
Yeah, and for a really long time, like Ernie Hudson had been like, no, I really wanted my character to have to play like a bigger part.
I mean, even in the movie, he wasn't like I don't think he received equal treatment to the other three Ghostbusters. Like, he had fewer lines to contribute with the wacky shenanigans. Like, he was the fourth member, but like you did kind of forget about him every once in a while.
Yeah, it's really a shame because the original part it turns out like was intended for Eddie Murphy, I believe, at the time, and they weren't able to get him, and then they pared down the character more and more.
Yeah, Ernie Hudson's kind of a straight man in that movie, but Eddie Murphy probably would have been contributing about equally to the other like just crazy lines in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. I guess Ernie Hudson wasn't in the the club. I mean, like Harold Ramis is a famous director and writer. He was more of a writer at the time, but he was a comedy writer. So he they were all in that sphere. And Ernie Hudson was an actor. He wasn't part of that. The comedian crowd. And they were all all the rest of those guys were good fans. Even Rick Moranis is part of that comedian crowd. Rick Moranis is in the movie, and he was part of SCTV, he was in the Canadian shows.
Yeah. He was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Spaceballs. Spaceballs came after, I guess, but he was known even in America as like an actor, but like a comedy actor.
Yeah, exactly. You had Sigourney Weaver, which is, an awesome choice.
I
From the
can't
Alien
believe they
movies.
like got her as just like the girlfriend when she's like becomes the main character in Alien.
Yeah. She's an iconic, actress in her own regard. Alien is considered like one of the best movies of all time, even back then. And very well regarded. And you also had Annie Potts, who is the basically like
She was the receptionist.
the receptionist, but
She's great.
she's like also the manager.
She's
really,
just so mundane. Like it's a living. Like that's just her entire character. Like picking up or dropping off. Like she's great.
Yeah, it definitely has that like exaggerated
really
New York accent. Yeah, exactly. Very
now we don't
very
do
of the time.
Whatever. Thanks for calling. Yeah, she nails that.
But yeah, I think all of the characters were like pretty standout. I mean, Ernie Hudson's really the only one who gets shortchanged, and they really kind of try to in recent years have tried to give him more to do, which is good. They've made good on it.
Even Rick Moranis, his whole character is supposed to be Mr. Forgettable. Like, let me get a load of those WD-40s. Fucking hell. Let me get rid of. Give me some more of those W2 forms. I'll be right back. And he's still more memorable because Ernie Hudson. They just sidelined the actor.
Yeah, so initially they start off basically the first ghost is the Slimer ghost, which is
the first ghost is the librarian ghost.
Oh, the librarian. Okay, well
that's ghost they have to like actually do something about is the Slimer, because like I think the librarian ghost, they just ran away.
Yeah, so the movie actually starts off with a pretty genuine horror moment, which
you might not realize it's a comedy movie.
Yeah, exactly. And it turns out that's probably the scariest thing in the entire franchise is that introduction.
And the librarian jump scare is pretty good too.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, the librarian.
I thought you meant the opening scene.
The opening scene is the librarian.
Yeah, but when the Ghostbusters meet the librarian, the jump scare's spooky.
Yeah.
Because the opening scene, I don't think you... Did you even see the librarian ghost in the opening scene? I thought it was just
no. When she finally reveals herself is when...
Yeah, well, that's not the opening scene. That's when the Ghostbusters actually show up. And, yeah, she, jump scares them, and they just leave. Like, fuck this.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, that's played to great comedic time.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say that wasn't a full-on that wasn't a scary scene. It was a comedy scene with a scary moment. The opening scene where you don't see anything is like, ooh, kind of eerie.
What's pretty cool is they in the recent Stern pinball machine, they actually have a really loud scream coming out of the pinball machine, like as an attract mode. So it'll just do it randomly. And it's pretty damn loud, so like you can actually turn that feature off, thankfully. But
I was gonna say that sounds more annoying than fun.
Yeah, but I get it. But yeah, really cool stuff. They go on to fight the Slimer, which is like the first and very most iconic ghost in the entire series. Well, second most probably. Next to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But
you know what amuses me about Slimer is like he flies through Bill Murray. Bill Murray's down. What happened? Like, I got slimed, but like I guess it just means he's kind of got some gross gunk on him. Like he doesn't appear to be actually adversely affected. It's just like, well, that was annoying, and that's like the end of that.
Yeah, they portray most ghosts as mostly annoyances.
Yeah, I really would rather not have this around instead of like actual threats.
Yeah, so basically just like harassing hotel goers in this case. This takes place in a hotel, and then they eventually track him down to a ballroom, and he's really just eating food. Like,
like I like this is detrimental to my business.
Yeah, exactly. But what's kind of funny is in later years we found out that he's kind of a tribute to John Belushi, who had passed away by this point, and was obviously a friend of Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd's. Yeah,
and so the Blues Brothers, that was their whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then they go on to bust like some minor stuff and some throwaway stuff, but eventually they have to fight a much bigger problem.
Well, that's what's kind of funny is like they don't really escalate until the big boss comes out. Like they deal with nuisances, and then literal god level monster shows up, and like,
well, there has been the subplot with the terror dogs. So all throughout.
I guess
this.
that is true. But it was in service of the god monster. So exactly. And they don't really deal with the terror dogs. They just like, I don't know what to do about this. And then a much bigger threat comes out.
So these terror dogs come and haunt Sigourney Weaver and Rick Moranis, and eventually possess them and make them into the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper, who are the key to welcoming Gozer, or is it Zool?
No, it's Gozer.
It's
Zool,
Gozer.
I think Zool might have been the dog, but they were welcoming Gozer the Gozerian.
Yeah, Gozer the Gozerian, an ancient god, like a Babylonian god or something like that, into that plane of existence. The terror dogs are there to welcome the deity, as it were. So, and then they have to fight Gozer at the end, who summons a terror god to come like destroy the city, and they have to pick a form for it, and Dan Aykroyd accidentally thinks of something.
Well, yeah, when you say don't think of anything, like,
yeah,
it's
of course
impossible.
You're gonna think of something. Yeah, exactly. Unless you're like really good at meditating or something. But
he thinks of like the cutesy little mascot on like marshmallows.
Yeah, he basically like that universe's version of the Michelin Man.
It really is. Yeah,
he looks like the Michelin Man, like crossed with like Donald Duck.
Well, I would say cross with the Pillsbury Doughboy. He's got a little
and
sailor
the Pillsbury
suit.
Doughboy. Yeah, like all of those things. Because the sailor suit is where I got Donald Duck.
Oh,
from.
Donald Duck. That makes sense.
Yeah. But he so they have to fight a gigantic marshmallow man, and you think that would be scary, but it's terrifying.
It is pretty scary, but he's also just getting annoying marshmallow goop everywhere. I don't think he's blowing up buildings. It's just like, I don't know how to stop this guy. He's far more annoying than the other ghosts.
Yeah, and well, it turns out that he's the perfect thing for them to fight because their powered pack can melt marshmallows. So
marshmallows are notoriously
meltable.
Easy to melt.
Yeah, exactly.
They're delicious s'mores, and they cover Walter Peck in like liquid marshmallow, and I guess he's alive, but it's just like, oh, that sucked. That's the end of that.
So yeah, they kind of bumble into saving the day by crossing the streams, which they were always told not to do.
That was the thing. Like, what do we do about Gozer? Shoot it. Like we've done everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they have all this tech, but like they didn't do anything really new, and that was the joke.
Yeah, the beauty of it is that they don't know what they're doing. It's
they
not
don't.
Even like they started off not knowing what they're doing, but now they're ready. Like they're really not. They won.
They know more than everybody, but not that much.
That's the thing. Like they know how to turn on their thing. You probably don't know that. They do, but that's whatever. That's not much.
So like this kind of really started the action like sci-fi comedy, like that. There's really nothing else like it before it, but there is stuff after it that kind of follows in its footsteps. Like you have Men in Black, especially. Men in Black is a very similar to Ghostbusters in concept.
That should be very serious and terrifying, but it's handled comically. With, again, both main characters are straight men. Will Smith's more like, what's going on? But, like, he's not, like, a silly character. He's just like, this is so weird. Like, but everyone else knows what's going on, but he's still Well, he's got stupid, goofy moments, but he's still mostly like trying to handle things as best he can.
Yeah, I mean, but there are plenty of other like stuff like this. There's like Evolution. I don't know if you remember Evolution.
Nah.
It's the one with Orlando Jones and the guy from X-Files. What's his name?
Like Mulder?
Mulder, yeah.
David Duchovny?
David Duchovny. They were fighting aliens in an action comedy. Yeah, there's a lot of these things. Most of them don't pan out well. I mean, they don't do well. But you have the bright spots like Men in Black and Ghostbusters here.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, exactly. You have bright spots on the comedy action spectrum. But what made this movie special was the one-liners and the attitude towards what was happening, and also like there was some really interesting stuff. You never really saw something like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man as a threat, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like he's a kaiju, but he's a marshmallow. Like, I mean, I wouldn't want to be out there when he's out there, but at the same time, like, someone could probably handle him.
The special effects were also really cool for the time.
Yeah, they're breaking the street and shit.
Yeah, and also just like the way that they did the puppets of a lot of the ghosts. They
the
made them
dogs
look
great.
Look like Slimer just looks really cool. It's just a really neat thing. Now, what was kind of a side thing about this all is that the concept ended up being like really marketable and toyetic. Kind of building off of our conversation about Batman from the last few weeks. So like the toys for this were amazing. Like I don't know if you had these toys growing up, but
I never had any of them.
I had the proton pack. I had the PKE meter. The trap, and like all the action figures and stuff like that too. And also like there was a TV show to go along with it.
Yeah, the real Ghostbusters, which was I never saw that show. Like I saw a few episodes like a year or two ago.
I used to love it
at Luminaire's place, where he's like, "Hey, they got the '80s Ghostbusters show on." I think we've mentioned this before, like about like how He-Man like does not hold up, and even back as a kid, it wasn't great. That show there's nostalgia for that show, but it fucking sucks. Ghostbusters is legitimately good today.
A legitimately good show with Peter Venkman stand-in that was really good. Lorenzo Music, yeah. He did Garfield's voice.
Garfield,
yeah.
Which, by the way,
this is really funny.
Yeah, like that whole thing. His voice in Garfield. I think he was supposed to be doing a Bill Murray impression.
Exactly.
And then they got Bill Murray for the actual live action, but with a CG Garfield movie, but he only signed up for that movie because it was a Coen Brothers movie, but it was Cohen, not Coen.
Yeah,
like he just slipped up, and he's just like, fuck. So he was just stuck in a Garfield
He did
movie.
end up doing the sequel, but anyway.
He did. But that's just very funny. By the way, regarding toy, well, I don't know if I can call this part toyetic. Let's just say marketable. But there's something that I learned only like a year ago that I never knew about. They got the Ecto-1, right?
Yeah.
You know how they got a replacement car in Ghostbusters 2?
No, I don't remember that.
Or not? Well, maybe if it wasn't a replacement car.
I think they just fixed it up. I don't know.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they have like another car or something?
The
license plate was different.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. It looked just like it was shined up.
Maybe, but like I could have sworn they had like another vehicle or something. It was either a replacement or an additional.
In the TV show, they had all kinds of vehicles, like so they.
But I mean in Ghostbusters 2 though.
Oh, I don't think so.
Because there was some point where their car was the Ecto-1B, for the license plate, and the low hanging fruit question is like Ecto-2. But apparently in the cartoon, they had like a helicopter, which I guess was going to become a toy.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the Ecto-2. So in Ghostbusters 2, sorry, that number's taken. So Ecto-1B, which nobody knew about because that's a very specific thing you have to focus on. It's kind of like how in Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine's back? What? And like he was revealed in like a Fortnite event. And either you knew about that at the time or you didn't. So when you come back like in 10 years and watch that movie, you'll be like, what happened? And then someone will have to explain it to you.
Yeah. Well, what's kind of interesting about the getting back to the TV show, they kind of did a heel face turn and with Slimer, and then made him basically their version of like Snarf from
the lovable pet.
Yeah, exactly.
And it got to the point where they pushed that hard enough that, like, because it's marketed for kids, but, like, would you think adults were watching the original seasons? The fucking kids were, and the kids didn't like this obnoxious, like, I get relating to kids, but, like, obnoxious cutesy character is not relatable, it's obnoxious. It's like the same thing for Transformers. Let's focus on the human kids so people have something to relate to. It's like, I'm here for the fucking fighting robots, dude. Like, it's called Transformers. I know what humans are. I live that every day.
So, here's another thing. There were quite a few, other than Lorenzo Music, other famous people in this show. I don't know if you were aware, but Maurice LaMarche, the voice of the Brain, was in the show. Frank Welker was the voice of Slimer.
Really?
He is Megatron.
Wow.
And a lot of other characters, including Scooby-Doo.
And most obviously the enemies in Overblood, who make weird little cat sounds like that's Frank Welker. We got him for this.
Yeah, Frank Welker is everything back then. So this is interesting. Ernie Hudson is Arsenio Hall.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So that's pretty funny. Or Winston, I'm sorry, Winston.
Yeah, Ernie Hudson's the real actor.
Yeah. No, Winston Zedmore is played by Arsenio Hall. Lorenzo Music only did the voice of Peter Venkman for 2 seasons, and then was replaced by Dave Coulier from Full House.
Didn't Lorenzo Music die? Was that what happened?
I think he died later. Maybe he died during this. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Dave Coulier had more of like.
He died in 2001. Lorenzo Music died in 2001, so it was much later.
So maybe not.
But
later. Yeah, Dave Coulier had more of like a dude bro voice.
Yeah, definitely kind of like a Michelangelo.
It was very different from the dry, like, I'm so done with this kind of voice.
Yeah.
So whichever one you heard first, you'll probably like, but if you were following it the whole time, you'd be like, oh, this is weird.
But I like the show quite a bit. Do you know where they got the backgrounds for a lot of the like the spooky segments and like for the otherworldly stuff?
There's a chance I might have heard about this, but forgot. What is it?
So a lot of the backgrounds actually came from the Star Trek animated series.
Oh, I did hear about that. Yeah. That's bizarre. I mean, I guess if you got them, Star Trek animated stuff, like some of those aliens and things in that cartoon were just way out there. Like they would never have been able to pull that off in the TV show. Like weird. Like I remember seeing like coily spring with wings aliens. It's like, what is this?
I should also note that the real Ghostbusters lasted a lot longer than most kids TV shows. It
was like the number one primetime kid show for a while, I think.
Yeah, I mean most kids shows last like 3 seasons if they are successful.
What was this, like 5 or 6?
It had 6 seasons, which is 7 seasons. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Which is very long for a kid show. It ran from 86 to 91, which is a long ass time. It's about as long as Ninja Turtles, and Ninja Turtles is like one of the longest ones.
And Ninja Turtles was also the king of TV at the time.
Yeah, exactly. So, like even things like Transformers didn't last that long. I think there was only 4 or 5 seasons of that. That was a successful show. Like I'm telling you, even like something like Animaniacs, you think is like a gigantically like popular like milestone.
That was like what, 3 seasons?
3 seasons, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Batman the Animated Series, gigantic, really popular show. 3 seasons, I think.
That was only 3, really?
I believe only 3 or 4.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot shorter than you think because the you got to remember how these shows are made. They're a lot of them are up front, like a ton of episodes are made, so they can get kind of syndicated, and then they make like 13, like they'll make like 40 or 50 episodes for that first season, and then they'll make like 13 more for each successive season. So because they know that they might just not be popular anymore at the end. So Batman the Animated Series was 2 seasons.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew it was only 2 or 3. It basically was 2 seasons, and I think the Adventures of Batman and Robin was that was the second season. So and then there was the third one when they moved to WB, I think. Oh no, I think they're just the new Batman Adventures, which was the WB one. So 3 seasons if you want to count that, which I would. But anyway, getting back to Ghostbusters, there were just like so many toys and awesome things to go along with this, but there was also a beverage, Lotus Prince. Do you know what this is?
Well, this has got to be Ecto Cooler, right?
Correct. So there is a special High C flavor. High C in the United States is a juice drink, a very sugary juice drink made by
like
Coca-Cola.
A juice box drink. Yeah,
exactly. But I'd hesitate to even call it juice. It's mostly sugar
it's
water.
Like Kool-Aid. It's just powder that you put in water.
Exactly. But it was it was tinted green, and it was tangerine flavored. I used to like it when I was a kid quite a bit. That actually was like produced a lot longer than even the TV show was. Like, it was produced for a very long time, and then they brought it back for the female Ghostbusters movie, and I think they brought it back for Afterlife just now as well. But just kind of as promotional kind of stuff. I don't think they plan on making it regularly. But it's just interesting stuff. Now, we're nearing the point where we have to like move on and to fan stuff.
Of course.
I also want to talk about the impact of the first movie. Other than this, I want to talk about the video games next week, and then we could talk about the first sequel. So. And then move on from there. But I really just kind of wanted to, set the tone and basically talk about, what was good about it and why people liked it. So I think we'll just call it there, and we'll move on to fan stuff here.
Why, sure. We have a few comments. Living Corpse is referring to the point, not the point I made, but the thing I brought up about the intense acting in animated Spider-Man when he's chasing down the Shocker. I'll show you that clip later.
Oh, yeah.
Shocker's like pissing himself. But Living Corpse said the best part was Black Suit Spider-Man scared Shocker so much he doesn't even open the wooden door in the church or even shoot it open. He just runs through it.
He's just that scared.
Fuck. Stranga Games says, pardon me, awesome show. Thanks for answering my question.
Sure.
This is concerning multiple endings in games. My latest game is a prequel to a previous game, so it's hard to make multiple paths of something that has to have a set ending.
That's true.
So what I've done is cut the ending into 3 to 4 parts, and you can unlock the other parts the more you involve yourself with the story or world as you play through the game. Oh, that's clever. So like a more and more complete ending. I was going to say there's also the Deus Ex option where this is a sequel, not a prequel, but like where the sequels take aspects of each ending. Yeah. So like all
there's
of them
not
are
one
canon,
canonical,
but also none of them are, because you don't take on the full effects of any of them, but there's little tastes of each. So it's something a little different, but hoping it works out better than, say, a good or a bad ending.
There you go.
And then Fakafon says, it never occurred to me that the Batman movies had multiple villains. But yeah, as soon as you make it 3, you get the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3 effect where it doesn't really work. Although, to be fair, that wasn't because it was 3, it was because studios pushed him to shoehorn Venom into a movie that was not made for Venom.
Yeah.
So like Venom felt awkwardly shoehorned in, and that's because he was.
Yep.
So like if it had been planned, maybe it'd be different. Because it looks like the upcoming Spider-Man No Way Home is going to have a whole bunch of villains, and if you actually thought about that before making the movie, then it could probably work.
Yeah, it appears that they're even doing a Sinister Six
exactly.
plotline, which I did not expect. I thought they were just going to bring in, the old villains, but I didn't know they were going to make them into a team like that, which is
why
pretty
not?
neat. Yeah.
And so anyway, continuing Fakavon's point, you want to know a good multiple ending system? Ripper. Yeah, that great game. Do you know that one, Vice?
I don't know about Ripper. I've heard of it, but I don't know
It's
about the
one that
endings.
Spoonie did a Let's Play of years and years ago. It's probably its most famous for having Christopher Walken in it, where...
Oh, that guy is unfucking...
Yeah, this guy is unfucking believable. Yeah, because the idea is that there's like a new killer, kind of like Jack the Ripper, but in modern times. So it's like that. So you make an entire game where everyone could be the bad guy, and in the last 5 seconds, you just choose, and then you get a really shitty ending. I think my favorite system for multiple endings to be one like Makai Kingdom, where the alternate endings involve a tough boss fight like 95% of the time, and ending up with you getting a new character if you succeed the challenge.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the NIS games did that pretty much through the entire PS2 era and probably onward, where there's the story ending, but then the post-game stuff, you can grind out these crazy dungeons, and whoa, weird secret boss, and then you can unlock them. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Man, I still love what they did with Mickey in Makai Kingdom, because Mickey, his gimmick is he looks like the final boss of a game, and that's his job. He's literally the final boss of, like, video games, like, in universe. But when you actually fight him, he has a different form, and it gets more minimalistic, like Form 4 Frieza, and you're like, oh no. and the background music that plays when you actually have to fight him is quite intimidating.
That's awesome.
And so the question is also from Thakafan, and by the way, this is our last question.
Oh yeah, definitely submit more, please.
Yeah. So Thakafan asks, what is your threshold of cost when you decide to treat yourself for a meal? For example, there's a place near here that makes amazing pizza, but it's costly. However, since it's so good and the portions are large, I think it's okay once in a while. I don't know if I have a monetary value. Like, I always just kind of feel like this is too much versus this is not, but I don't know if I could narrow it down like, yes, I'll do $30. No, I will not do $31. Like, I think it might be some sort of range I'd have to feel out, Like, also, I would not spend $30 on myself. I'll tell you that much. But, like, unless it's like a fancy schmancy dinner or something, and it's like once like in the entire year, like that's not what I would normally do. But if I ever feel like, you know what, I could treat myself. Like, my problem is I'm gonna eat what I want. Like, it's probably gonna be 2 slices of pizza for like $5. Like, I don't splurge on expensive food. So like, if a friend said you want to go to a fancy restaurant with me, like, I don't know, maybe I'll do like 15 to 20, but this is a rare occasion.
So, I'll first specify that I cook for myself, and I like trying new recipes a lot. So I may just go out and buy something on the fancier side to cook for myself if I feel like it. Like an expensive steak, but like I also acknowledge that buying an expensive steak at the grocery store is a total different ball game than buying an expensive steak at a steakhouse. Much cheaper, obviously, if you cook it yourself. I do really enjoy cooking, and I would consider that like very satisfying to cook myself something like that. But in terms of, if I was buying myself something, like I like to go out to dinner to nice restaurants with my wife. It's one of the things that, like, favorite things that we like to do with each other. But if I'm just gonna be by myself, I tend to go cheap. Just because it's not an event; it's just a way to get
that's
food.
The whole thing. Yeah, it has to feel earned. Like, I don't ever say like, you know what, today's the day I'm gonna have like a $45 steak. Like, that's just not what I do.
Yeah, this isn't like if I'm alone for the night because my wife is out with friends or at a family thing or whatever. I probably we have this really awesome Mediterranean place near us that has like really good gyros. Believe it or not, I can get myself a really good meal for about $10. And
Yeah.
I really like it. There's places out there as well that are on the pricier side, but they tend to give you gigantic portions.
That's the whole thing. Like, and this is especially like when I like if I'm eating with my family, we get Chinese food or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it ends up kind of costing a bit, but like there's easily enough for 2 servings. So like
Exactly.
it doesn't it like I'm basically it's you could either view it as it's half the cost you think it is, or you're getting twice what you think you are.
Yeah. So going off of that, like if I want a pizza and I'm on one of those nights, I'm gonna order a pizza because like I know I'm gonna eat two slices usually. That's what I have, and
have
then
leftovers the next day.
tons
and
of leftovers. Yeah, exactly. Or even just like something there for a snack. For a single slice later.
You're just in one of those moods, yeah.
Exactly. So I guess the more expensive thing would be if I wanted to cook myself a really nice steak or something like that. But honestly, like I could buy a prime steak, which is basically I guess I could get a Wagyu steak, which is like even fancier than that. But like a prime steak is pretty damn fancy. I can buy that at my local BJ's, wholesale club, for $20 for a 1 pound steak, right?
Sure.
I mean that $20 is not that extravagant, and I would probably pay something close to $100 for that at a fancy restaurant.
Yeah.
And I could cook that for myself, and I cook steak very well. Not like well done, but like
I was just gonna say choose your words carefully.
I excel at cooking steak.
Do you remember that?
It's
Do you
like
remember
one of
that
the
bit
things.
from King of the Hill about that?
No.
It's very funny because Hank was telling Bobby like, this is what a medium is, this is what a medium rare is, and like he goes from rare to medium or something.
And there's nothing past medium.
Yeah, like Bobby was like, well, what if somebody wants a steak well done? And Hank says, well, then we tell them firmly but politely to leave. It's amazing.
I'm kind of in that same. I do like a steak medium rare or medium.
Yeah,
typically.
I do medium.
Yeah, well, most people, I think a lot of people do medium, but there are people out there that are really skeeved by anything that's undercooked.
Oh yeah, there's people who like well done, and then there's the other way where people like rare or like rarer than rare is like blue, I think it's called.
Yeah, no, I can't. I'm not down with that. That's just when it's
fresh off the counter, you don't fucking cook it.
Yeah, I like medium rare at a good steak restaurant is pretty damn rare. So like getting rarer than that is, like I said, like almost like gelatinous. Like
yeah.
I'm not down with that. But like I'm not down with well either, because well done's like dried out to me.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. When it gets tough.
Yeah, exactly. So like, medium is perfect. Like if somebody's gonna make it medium, it depends on what mood I'm in. Like a medium rare or medium is good for me, and it depends on the place too. Because like some places I don't trust with a medium rare one, if you know what I mean. Like they have to have sanitary conditions and that kind of thing. But I like I said, that's probably about it. Like maybe I might I made myself chicken biryani one time, which is an Indian rice dish, but it has like saffron in it. So like I did, like spend some money on saffron, which is the most expensive spice I think in the world.
I think it's named after that one city in Pokemon.
No, that's Vermilion.
That actually was one of those things. Like there are certain places that are obviously named after colors, but like I didn't get. I think I even knew Vermilion and Viridian, but like saffron did not click with me. Like I didn't get that as a kid.
Yeah, it's a reddish color. Or is it a?
No, isn't it yellowish?
A yellowish color. Okay, so
think of actual saffron.
Well, no, it's saffron. Actual saffron buds are red. That's why I said that.
Oh, the buds. Okay.
But it turns food yellow.
Yeah, because like the red city was vermilion.
Yeah.
Because Viridian is green.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Fair day.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, like I said, I don't really have a threshold. I mean, I'm not gonna spend. I'm not gonna go to a fancy restaurant by myself. First of all,
and again, if friends take me to a fancy restaurant, like I'm gonna see that like the spare ribs are gonna be like $45.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Like I'll do like 20-25 if I'm in one of those situations.
What I was gonna say is like. You don't understand when you have when your significant other loves to go out to and have a good time at a restaurant, like going without them to a place like that is criminal. So yeah, like I'm not gonna like go and enjoy a fancy steak by myself. That's a kind of a weird thing to do.
What you can do is you could take a picture of your wife and put it on your phone, and then go to your camera's like display mode, put the camera on a little tripod, or just talk like, "Hello, sure is great that you're here." No response.
Or I could just put in dress up in a Wolverine costume and hop into bed and wistfully look at it.
Yeah, you stroke the picture. I love that.
That's up there with Kane from like Final Fantasy IV, who just like straight up goes to bed in his fucking armor.
I love that stuff. Yeah, they don't change you out. Just you actually just sleep in it.
Like, do you know how uncomfortable sleeping in armor would be?
It was pretty funny.
But in the 3D one, it's even funnier because there's even more detail, of him like sleeping in his armor.
You know what they need to do is have the sound effects when he like gets into bed, like all the
clink
clattering.
clink.
Like I keep forgetting. Have you seen Mel Brooks's silent movie?
No, I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot of the jokes.
There's
from
a very funny scene where they're trying to get Liza Minnelli to be in their movie, and like because it's a silent movie, like you could tell the sounds probably were added in post. Sure. I think. What's really funny though is like how do we get close to her? She's a big star. So she's in a restaurant and they all dress up in like knight's armor and they try to approach her that way, but like they're having difficulty moving around in the armor and sitting down. So like there's just this whole scene of them approaching not even her table, like a nearby table, and like attempt to sit in a chair but fall off of it, clatter to the ground, and it's just constant like like in the movie it's just noise cacophony. Forever. It's like like maybe she can't recognize their faces, but like this is still the single worst attempt at stealth I've ever seen. It's very funny.
Yeah,
it's funny because it keeps going. Yeah, it's funny though because they keep getting up, falling down, sliding against each other. It's like, come on. It's amazing.
That's really great. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I might every once in a while go to a bar and order a hamburger and just like sit there and watch a sports game while enjoying a hamburger, like at lunchtime or something if I'm on the go.
Sure.
But like. That's
like,
about
it. Five Guys or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That's about it in terms of like dropping some dough on myself while I'm out. So
yeah, normally my thing is between work shifts I will just run across to the pizza place when it's lunch break, like $4 to $5 depending on which pizza place I have, because there are two within reasonable walking distance. And like, there's a couple places of pizza. There you go.
Oh, man, that brings me back because you teach at the college we went to. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not even talking about that. Although you're right, there is a pizza place that's right there. But no, I mean even like at my other job, like I'll just go across the street. Like there's a place. But yeah, at the college, there's a pizza place that's there that was not when we were students.
Wow. Okay.
The one that
times change, man.
the one that we used to go to all the time, like, didn't that was the ultimate college student pizza place? Didn't that like open at 10 p.m. or something?
Yeah.
That place is great.
I loved it.
You want a slice of cake in the middle of the fucking night? Yeah, I do.
Tata's Pizza was like it.
You want a cheesesteak? Yeah, I do.
And they had they had wonderful prices too. They were just so fucking cheap, and they gave you a ton of food.
No one else was open at that time of night except for like like the chicken place or whatever. It's like they
they
just
were open
owned
from
those,
10 until like 3 in the morning or whatever.
Yeah, they just owned that time slot. Like again, unless you want to get like drunk at night, like bars will be open obviously, but like pizza, they're it.
Yeah, we used to have late night gaming sessions where we just would walk there and
yeah, why the hell not? And what made it even better was when it was cold and unpleasant outside, and then you got back and you got your cheesesteak or your pizza slice. Like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, exactly. I remember playing the original like Fire Emblem on the Game Boy Advance. Like I had it on the Game Boy player, and we would be playing like. I had the ultimate setup in my dorm. I had 2 TVs next to each other in my room, and we would
that wasn't. I don't know how the hell you got that to happen.
Yeah, I had a very big room for an undergrad. Or
because
college
you were renting
student.
those different apartments. Yeah,
exactly.
Because I had an actual dorm room.
Yeah, I had an actual apartment, and you had an apartment later.
In senior year, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's when we knew each other. We knew each other senior year.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I just lucked out to have the biggest room, and I also had my own bathroom too. So, like it was just. Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna make this so much fun. I was like, it brought 2 CRT televisions from home, and we rocked it out.
Yeah, I mean, what a bitch that must have been, but it was cool while they were there.
It was a lot of fun too, because like it would be the 3 of us. We had a friend named Mike who we hung out with at the time as well, and he would be on the computer. And like the 2 of us would be on our own games on the TVs.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It was awesome. It was one of the most fun times, definitely. Like for friend wise, like it was just so much fun. But anyway, I think we answered the question pretty good there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, about treating yourself to a meal.
That's a good question, man.
That's a good question.
We should have a segment.
So I will remind you that is now our last fan submitted question. So if anybody has more, please feel free to bring them in.
Yeah, you don't want Lotus to have to come up with a question. That'd just be awful.
Awful.
That's the show for this week. We want to thank all of our fans who contributed questions. Thank you, Fakafon. Please keep us supplied with awesome topics by submitting questions of your own via the YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. Helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Tuesdays for our sister podcast, Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth look at this week in our lives. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much anything. Just give me a ring beforehand and let me know who you are.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, select upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then please consider following my Patreon account at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
Awesome. Well, we will catch everybody next week on Tuesday then.
Happy Thanksgiving, Americans.
Oh yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Turkey Day.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.